Extra Innings presented by Garza Law. We are in the Tony Basilio Ray Mears studio. Online at garzalaw.com. Call in 865-200-5402 TLD Logistics Hotline. We're live after every SEC series finale. Spread the word. And after every single postseason game. Live at tclub.team, X Spaces, Twitch, and YouTube. I am VFL Will Heflin, back with you this week. Happy Mother's Day to every mother who is out there. Tony, my sweet mother was a sibling of an older brother and a twin brother, and then she was blessed, or cursed, however you want to look at it, with 3 boys of herself. God bless that woman. But happy Mother's Day to every other mother out there. If you are a son or a daughter, whoever you are, tell your mother thank you. We are back in the studio again after, another Tennessee baseball loss. Another rubber match that doesn't go our way. We're going to take your calls, 865-200-5402. If you want to holler at me, that's the TLD Logistics Hotline. This is Garza Law, Extra Innings. I am Will Heflin. Trying to gather my thoughts a little bit here. You know what? I'll say this. It was at least worth watching in the last few innings, which is more than I can say for the other series finale last couple weeks. I'm kind of going in and out on my mic here. Let me turn myself up. Tennessee loads the bases in the 9th, down 2 after Vanderbilt got a 2-strike, 2-out opposite field solo shot as an insurance run. And then Tennessee was able to load the bases, but Cannon People struck out to end the game on a 96, 97 mile an hour heater from McIlvain to wrap up the series for Vanderbilt. We'll kind of do what we normally do, start on Friday. I mean, these weekends all seem to go the same, which I get on here and sound like a broken record. You get backpacked by Liam Doyle, whose back has got to be killing him. I know he's got a blister, but that dude's got to feel like he's deadlifting the house lately. So you get a Liam Doyle dominant outing. You hang on to win that one, which you have to do every week. And then it's been a coin flip with Phillips lately. I'm sure we'll talk about the stolen bases because it's not gotten any better. If anything, it's gotten worse. And then you aren't able to win that one. So you find yourself in another rubber match at home, this time against your in-state rival, with national seed implications on the line. And there was some fight today. I'll give that to him. Andrew Fisher came to play today. He showed some fight. Yeah, it's easy to say they fought, or he fought when he hits 2 home runs. But stuff like that can make you look past some of the little things that this team's just not playing great baseball right now. But when you make big-time swings, you're in the game. And Tennessee was able to throw a punch there after the rain delay. But it just wasn't enough. The weirdest part of the series, I know Vanderbilt's kind of shown some more power over the last couple weeks. It was a pretty, I don't want to say meek, but they just didn't hit a lot of homers early in the year. It wasn't a very offensive team. They've pitched all year. But these last couple weeks, they've shown a power surge. But the weird thing this weekend is that it wasn't the guys. It wasn't Brody Johnston who's leading the team. It wasn't the 3-hole Nelson. It was Barzy, first career multi-home run game today, and then Mancini, who tacked one on. That was his first SEC homer of the year. What a joke. Vastine had one as well right after the rain delay, I believe. He's phenomenal defensive shortstop, but not known for power. It was just they got contributions from a array of different guys. So really good series win for them. Bargo had a good day for Tennessee. I will say this. Now, I'm sure we'll talk about a lot of the decisions made, and some of them had made you scratch your head. And in previous years with this coaching staff, even when the decisions, say the matchups, or this guy pinch hit here, you put a certain guy in to pitch here, when they didn't make sense all the time, they still worked. And you're like, man, you know what? This is what we chalk it up to. These guys are magicians. That's why they get paid the big bucks. And this year, some of the ones that make you scratch your head, they're not working. And, the lineup today I thought was a phenomenal move. You started Blake Grimmer. He had a righty on the mound, gets his first SEC start. And then you go with some youth around that. And Levi Clark gets in there. I believe Chris Newsom started. He didn't finish the game. But I love that because, those guys are your most talented guys. Those freshmen are going to be the core of this team moving forward at some point. But the play I'm referring to is you're kind of caught in between there with Grimmer. You've got some base runners on, nobody out, or maybe it was one out. I think it was nobody out. You decide to bunt him, but it was a left-handed pitcher. I don't know that he's had a at bat against the lefty all year, and I know he hasn't squared a bunt, and he pops it up and you give away an out. And so it's easy to look at that and be like, well, you could have pinch hit a righty if you're going to bunt. Somebody that's used to doing that, or more likely to feel comfortable against a lefty. And maybe Grimmer's a great bunter. I don't know. We haven't seen him do it. He's been swinging a good bat. But he had a hit. He smoked that ball there in the ninth, just very, very short of the wall, or just short of the wall, very, very close to being a game-winning homer. So I don't know. I'm going to go to the phones. Garza Law, Extra Innings, you're on the air.
Hey, this is William from Tennessee.
Hey, William.
This is the 5th straight loss for a series in the SEC for Tennessee this year, and it's embarrassing. This is just flat out embarrassing. This team, they showed up, but at the very end after the delay, no. Just no.
What do you mean no? They did or did not show up?
They did not show up at all. And I just don't like that from our base Vols.
I don't like it either. What do you think? What do you think needs to change?
So I do this a lot.
You do what a lot?
I usually swing it, if it's a ball, I swing at it. Yeah.
So you play baseball, William?
A little bit, yeah.
How old are you?
And one thing you have to do
Will,
is
how
not
old are
swing
you?
at a ball. What?
How old are you, Will?
13.
13. So when you swing at a ball, what do you usually tell yourself? Like, why does that happen? I was a pitcher, so walk us through that.
I'm just like, why did I do that?
I hear you. Hey, don't be nervous, Will. Be at their service. Well, what makes people swing at balls?
Like, they think they're going to hit it.
Yeah.
Which sometimes I do,
Uh-huh.
but it's not all the time. And it could be the same thing for all you listeners out there, if you're listening to the show.
Tell them.
It's the same for everyone. Y'all have a great day.
Hey, Will, thanks so much for the call, man. Hope you call us back next week. We got a little bit more excitement to talk about. I tell you what, Will, if anything, the guy cares because he did not sound like he was in high spirits. But you keep playing ball, Will, and if it's not in the zone, don't swing at it. That's my best advice I can give you as a hitter. But keep playing. When I was 13, I wasn't that good of a player. Tell you that much. But puberty was a helpful thing, and I didn't end up being the greatest, but I was better than a lot of guys that were better than me at 13. So we're going to the next caller. Garza Law, extra innings. You were on there.
Hey guys, Dave.
Dave.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't even get a warm up for you today, brother. Go ahead.
You got it. They're just. This is a poorly coached team. It just is. Well, for whatever reason, they're fundamentally broken. They don't do the fundamentals. You got Curley up there you got a man on second base with nobody out. At the minimum, you've got to get him over to third with less than 2 outs. I mean, you get little leaguers to do that, and he grounds out to the third baseman.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just all they've left so many runs. I mean, how many small ball runs do you think Vanderbilt got this weekend? A ton.
Do you consider errant pickoff throw Do you consider an errant pickoff throw a small ball run?
Well, yeah, because they forced by stealing bases, and they forced the error.
Yeah, they've started showing it on the screen how bad we are at holding the run game. We're near dead last in the entire country, like bottom 10. Top 5 in home runs, top 5 in team ERA, and you are 10 or 9 teams away from being dead last in the country in stolen bases allowed. And fielding percentage, you're in the hundreds.
Well, Vitale doesn't have any answers. He keeps trying. He's got his roster.
He looks beyond frustrated, Dave. He looks beyond frustrated.
There's absolutely nobody in the bullpen. Zero. They don't have any arms in the bullpen. They can get anybody out.
Which is insane. When you look at, I know it's not everything, but you look at the scoreboard when they come in, and you're like, how did these guys get hit? But it happens every week. It's kind of just, you got to accept it.
They just don't have anybody that you can bring in like they have in the past few years, and people want to compare this team to 2023. This team is nowhere close to the 2023 team. That 2023 team had great starting pitching, had much better pitching, not even the same ballpark. And I hope people don't take this the wrong way, but without Liam Doyle, this team would not be making the NCAA tournament. Bottom line, they wouldn't be. They'd have 8, 9, 10 wins in SEC play without Liam Doyle.
Well,
he's the only reason they're making the tournament this year.
I wish I could argue with you.
Do what now?
I wish I could argue with you on that.
I mean, it's the truth. And I mean, every reliever that he brought in, sometimes he brought them in, I didn't know what he was doing, bring them in, but every one of them gave up something. And it's hard to come back. It's hard to get any momentum when you keep tying the game, get down by 3, cut it to 2. But every time you do that, you go out the next inning and your pitcher's giving up a run or two. You keep playing from behind like that. It's not winning baseball. And I don't know what these young guys, they're going to have to make a major jump next year. I mean, we're spoiled. I admit it. We're spoiled to death. what they've done the last few years was probably not sustainable. But Tony's got a lot of work ahead of him. But he makes the big bucks, Will. So he needs to get to work. Y'all have a great day.
Thanks, Dave. Well, he's not wrong, but I can tell you based on what we see from the freshmen that are playing every day, and we'll see how the draft goes with the recruiting class they've got coming in, but the guys they have coming in, and then they're going to crush it in the portal. If this year doesn't end how we all hope it does, I'd be shocked if Tennessee was outside the top 3 in preseason next year. So, that's not fair to the guys this year who are, the Hunter Insleys and the older guys this year to just completely look towards next year. But you do that every year, regardless. Even last year we were on our way to a national championship, and we're thinking about what it's going to look like in the following season. So it's just kind of natural, comes with the territory. But they're in good hands moving forward, regardless of how this end of the season turns out. But let's take a quick break. Be right back with you on the other side. Take some more calls. TLD Logistics Hotline, 865-200-5402. Lines are slammed right now, but give us a call. We'll wait on us, I guess. We're going to talk more about Tennessee baseball. Matt Dixon should hop in with us. Tennessee just lost the rubber match to Vanderbilt here on Mother's Day. Be right back with you.
Get you back to the action here momentarily. It's Garza Law. Extra Innings, presented by Marcos Garza and your Garza Law firm. Online at garzalaw.com. Marcos and his team are your go-to law firm for a myriad of disciplines. When it comes to DUI defense, criminal defense, personal injury, Social Security, or disability, you want to deal with folks that are of, by, and for our community. People that you will see in Lindsey Nelson Stadium when the Vols are playing baseball the rest of the spring and into the summer. Treating clients like family. Don't you dare trust anybody else. Available 24/7 at garzalaw.com. Also presented by our friends at VIP Play. Now, Will tell you more in coming shows about VIP Play, but rest assured, big changes are coming in the gambling space. VIP Play will be here. The Eagle will land shortly. Must be 21 and over in the state of Tennessee to place a bet, and you will check out more there. Also, a special shout out today to our friends at Rather and Kittrell. RKCapital.com. Start planning your future today at rkcapital.com. Personalized financial planning, disciplined investment strategy, ongoing guidance and partnership. RK Capital can help you in so many ways. And we're also presented by our friends at Calhoun's. Calhoun's, your taste of Tennessee. Leave the cooking to us all baseball season long. When you're getting together for your Tennessee watch parties, Calhoun's is a wonderful thing. When you want to grab something to or from the ballpark, it's always fresh. It's always going to be wonderful. It's available for pickup near you. And remember, Friday home games mean we're live, and we'll be with us some down at Calhoun's on the river. It's phenomenal. Like Hunter Ensley says, Calhoun's, we're champions feast. Or does he say we're champs feast? At any rate, it's the taste of Tennessee. Now let's get back to more on our TLD Logistics phone line. Online at tldlogistics.com. And we'll get you back to our host with the most, the superstar on Garza Law. Extra Innings.
Garza Law, Extra Innings. Will Heflin back with you on a beautiful, then stormy, now dreary Mother's Day. Tennessee loses the rubber match to Vanderbilt. I think the craziest part about this whole deal to me is how every week of this slide has looked exactly the same. Tennessee has yet to go into a Sunday needing to avoid a sweep. Obviously, when you lose this many series in a row, you're not going into Sunday trying to get a sweep. So all of these losses 5 out of the last 6. That one exception being Ole Miss on the road. You've gone into Game 3, and you've had an opportunity to win a rubber match, and you're 1 for 6. And today is the first day. You actually scored more runs today than you had in the last few rubber matches. You got 5 runs today. I just don't understand. I don't understand how there's no building of momentum. Things have happened during this skid where you're like, make it really surprising that Tennessee hasn't been able to roll to a single win in this stretch outside of the Ole Miss one. The Ole Miss one, you had that crazy environment with all those people mad at Fisher and Liam coming back. But like the obvious one today is Fisher's getting quick pitched really bad in that first at bat. And their guy's good. Connor Fennell, one of the best Sunday starters in the league. And Tennessee did a great job to get him out of the game early. And I know Vanderbilt's got a good bullpen. But you get him out of the game that early, that's a win. That's a win within the game. And you aren't able to build on that. But for Fisher to hit that home run and tempers to flare up the way they do in a normal year for Tennessee baseball, which this year is not normal. What's normal is the not normal things that they normally do, which probably makes no sense now that it's coming out of my mouth. But I'm saying how good they've been is more who they are than what we're seeing right now. A typical Tennessee team absolutely hammers Vanderbilt after that happens. And I'm getting on here saying, appreciate the ammunition, brother. You didn't need to do that. Your stuff is good enough. You don't need to try to ticky-tack quick pitch. And we've had guys that do that similarly. Like Camden Sewell was a guy who pitched so fast it ticked off some other teams. I didn't always agree with it, but if that's what you want to do, do it. And their guy did it, and Fisher got him. And he was well within his right to say something like he did. Maybe he went a little bit too far. That's neither here nor there. But, tempers were obviously flaring, and they've got the eye contact rule now. And because of the pitch clock, guys have had to adjust to that, so they'll get in the box with their eyes down and wait. And that guy wasn't even letting guys get their eyes fully up. As soon as their neck started to move to signal that they were ready and make that eye contact, he was going. And I kind of hate that. There's a rhythm. There's a rhythm when you're pitching. That's just I just think the flow of the game is normal. Let the guy get in the box, let him get ready, give it a beat, make sure you're ready, and then go. I never really liked how those things play out when they try to pitch really quick. But I get why guys do that. They're trying to mess up the timing and make hitters feel uncomfortable, and then when they mix up the timing on the actual pitch, just makes it that much harder. But the point of that is Tennessee had a huge momentum shift right there, and then you don't really do anything after that, and you kind of let that slip away, and then Vanderbilt punches back, and that whole momentum is gone. That's the thing I keep going back to is complementary baseball. I mean, it's exactly like football, and Dave was just talking about it. When you get a run or two on offense, the next time you're on defense, that's considered a shutdown inning. You've got to shut them down after you score. And kind of little games within the game are so important. And it seems like if Tennessee scores, they immediately give it back. Or if they get a quick inning from their pitching staff, they don't, turn it into something on offense. One example was, I believe it may have been one of Coons' inning, who had a phenomenal outing overall. I thought he was pretty good. But he had 2 pitches, 2 outs, and they take an offensive timeout, Vanderbilt does, which is understandable. Your guy just had to throw like 25 pitches. He comes into the dugout. He's probably still huffing and puffing, and Coons throws 2 pitches and there's 2 outs, so they take an offensive timeout, and then he walks the next guy, or gives up a 2-strike hit to R.J. Austin, which was just fighting off a really good pitch, and then you walk the next guy, and all of a sudden you went from, hey, really quick inning opportunity to their guys had plenty of time to rest up. Now it feels like a stressful inning and you're having to labor. Just not able to complete that quick shutdown inning. And Vanderbilt didn't even end up scoring in that inning, but I felt like we had their guy on the ropes, and if he would have had to come back out real quick after that long inning and labor, I mean, he was still up in over 60 pitches through 3, or I think it was close to 70. So he kind of had a shorter outing. But those are a couple of my, thoughts further along in the game. Let's go back to the phones real quick. Garza Law, extra innings on the TLD Logistics Hotline. You're on the air. Hey.
Oh, this is Russell. Sorry.
Hey, Russell.
First time, long time calling in. Hef, I just feel like our dogs at the top of this lineup are Tony's dogs that have been around what we've been watching baseball for the last 4 or 5 years. And the bottom of half of this lineup and the bullpen, just not really the same dogs that we've been used to. I mean, what do you think about that?
Yeah. I mean, every baseball team is going to have their better guys at the top of the lineup. That's kind of the point. But I don't know. It just feels so. If they feel so close to busting through for a big inning, and they haven't been able to string anything together. I mean, I know 10 runs is a lot, but the game is much more offensive in the last few years. The bats are better. The balls are woven tighter. When's the last time we scored 10 runs in a conference game?
It's been a hot minute.
Much less. When have we scored, 6, 7, 8 in back-to-back games? That's the thing that's kind of makes me scratch my head, is like they have not been able to string anything together for just 2 days in a weekend, much less 3 games.
No, I agree.
I don't mean for anybody to catch a stray, but it kind of looks like the similar frustrations that we've had on the hardwood.
Yeah.
I love Rick Barnes to death, but the knock there is that the offense kind of comes and goes, and we've faced that on the diamond these last 6 series.
That and the 2-strike pitching.
Well,
that's been going on over the last 5 or 6 series here when we've had favorable counts. It's just been pretty hurtful.
I can live with homers, but you throw 99, you should very rarely give up a 1-2 or 0-2 homer, especially to guys who have 0 SEC homers and,
Yeah, I know.
One guy that has like 6 for the whole year. I mean, we got guys on the bench that only play in midweeks or, rotational guys. They got 6 homers.
And I guess my glass half full is you changed just a handful of things over these series. 2-strike pitching and maybe one situational at bat here. I mean, we're not even having a conversation or being that frustrated about what we have going on. And the glass half empty is this going to be the trend for the rest of the year,
Well, the rest of the year is next week, and then it's a postseason. One thing I will say, I don't know that Baum Stadium next week is the place to go when you need to get right. But one thing that the postseason can do, and this is possible for anybody, is it really is a new, fresh season for whatever reason. And I know Dave was on here talking about the 23 team had great starting pitching, and that's true. But you're not gonna convince me that 23 was better than this team. They just weren't, not top to bottom. And guys haven't necessarily performed, but this team is better than that team was.
But
that
let's hope
postseason was
hot, cold,
it's just a
hot,
new
cold, hot theory goes together.
It's a new season, right? It's totally different. They were kind of scuffling. They played one SEC tournament game, got blanked by A&M, got shut out. Everybody's like, golly, this team's going to go get bounced in a regional. They end up going to Clemson, and they just win an insane game in Game 2. And next thing you know, they're rolling through Hattiesburg and making their way to Omaha. Now they ran into Paul Skeens, so, had fun. Thanks for coming. But they made it, so I'm just saying,
exactly.
Next weekend is likely to be frustrating. I hope I'm wrong. But if I had to make a prediction, I'm probably not picking Tennessee to win that series. I don't know that I pick anybody to go into Baum Stadium and win a series against Arkansas right now. But the postseason will be a fresh start. So
I hope so. Hot, cold, hot, right? We got to get hot at some point again. So
is that your theory? Tell the listeners what hot, cold, hot theory means.
So hot means start the season hot. Your February, March, go into conference play a little bit. Then you hit a little slug midway through, kind of that 1st of April tax time into about this time, and teams get hot again, and those were the teams that run it all the way through to Omaha. And, 11.7, those boys kind of coined that, I guess. So hopefully that's us this year.
Sure could be. Thanks for the call, Russell.
All right, thanks, Will. See you, bud.
See you. Extra Innings, Garza Law, you're on the air.
Hey, Will. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. How are you?
We all could be better, I guess, couldn't we?
Yeah. Could be worse, though.
First of all, I can't hardly hear you on my phone, so you need to turn the volume up to the output of your show to the phones where people can hear you better. But anyway.
I need to start yelling. Can you hear me better now? Well, I guess you're on the phone now.
Well,
I turned it up.
Not really loud enough, but I heard that previous caller louder than you. So I don't know. But anyway, I'm down in Middle Tennessee, of course. Been a Vols fan all my life. And I know this is baseball, the game we're playing. People need to just kind of chill out a little bit. Baseball is the most craziest sport you'll ever learn or be a fan of. Because just like the previous caller said, hot, cold, hot, it happens to every team, no matter what you're playing, what level.
Yep.
But the thing I've got to put on the top of my pedestal with Tennessee right now, and I don't know, I've heard remarks in the past. Last year on Tony's show, I heard remarks from players, people close to players, on what hitters say they do when they get in the batter's box. They swing as hard as they can. Well, that's not working. And I've never seen Auburn proved it exactly my thoughts about this. They shortened up their swing against us and beat our ass 2 games. We gotta, you got guys on base, a guy on second, and you're swinging for downtown Knoxville, and it's a high, deep pop out. That happened to us tonight when we came back off the rain delay. You get guys on base, that last ball that went to deep center field at the warning track, wonder if I let up on my swing a little bit and that ball bounced in front of him. That would have scored a run. You got to think about everybody and not just me. And that's what I'm seeing. I might be wrong. That's what I'm seeing. Everybody with their big swings. Even the commentators today on TV talked about it a couple of times. That was a big swing there. It came up empty. But it has nothing to do with Coach Vitello. He don't get out there and play. He's a hell of a coach. We ought to be happy we got him and do all we can do to keep him. But the guys have got to have a soul search. They got to search their soul now. as they get set to go to Arkansas. I mean, it takes more than a coach to win the games. You got to have players that are team oriented. Somebody on that team, one of those older players or a couple of them, need to take charge. Chew some asses, not the coaches. The players need to get on one another. Somebody needs to take over. I don't know who that is. Would you know who that is?
I would say Inslee. He had a phenomenal weekend, by the way.
Yeah, I think, it just, and then when you get to the playoffs, guys and gals, we're going to play somebody that hasn't seen us every year. And year in and year out. They're not going to know everybody exactly off a chart they're looking at what they've done because they haven't really been in front of them and seen them play, seen them hit the ball or whatever. It'll change once we get in the playoffs, but I would love to see it change in Arkansas, and it can. It can. But, I'm sad like everybody. I just shake my head watching the game these days, and you had that last home run with an 0-2 count, opposite field, gave them a 2-run lead. Pitcher fed that one in there too many times. In the SEC, I don't care if your fastball is 90 or 100. SEC guys are going to hit them if there's no break to them.
Yeah, I think it was 1-2, but same point. Just a little too much of the middle of the plate. I appreciate the call, man. I'm kind of with
yes,
you.
Sir.
I'm
Thanks
a
for
little,
taking the call, man.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm with him. It's you feel bad for them, but I think there was a lot of points in there, but kind of stuck out to me a little bit of soul searching. A little bit of soul searching might be needed, but look, everybody keeps saying it about postseason, how it's different, and I agree. If we go play a team from a different conference, we might just hammer them. The problem is that the SEC is going to get 14 teams in, or 13, because A&M got swept by 0-24 Missouri, now 3-24 Missouri. That's a story for a different day, but 13 or 14 SEC teams will be in postseason. So the odds of you making it to Omaha without playing one of them aren't great, considering you're not going to be the number 1 overall seed, or the number 2 at least. So you may find yourself at this point on the road at Auburn, or on the road at Georgia, or on the road at Texas for a super if you're able to win a regional. You won't play an SEC team in a regional, but I would just prepare yourself for likely being matched up with one in a super. And maybe something like last year happens where Evansville, went in there and upset. It was Wake and ECU in that regional. That could certainly happen anywhere. But I think Tennessee fans need to understand that the last few years of college baseball, which is when Tennessee has been really popular, in 23, LSU was the best team and won the whole thing. In 24, Tennessee was the best team and won the whole thing. That is not how baseball normally is. Like, it's made way too much sense over the last few years. And this season, with Texas being number 1 and then getting smacked in the face, and they're not really number 1, and Florida State had a cup of coffee at number 1. LSU had a cup of coffee at number 1. Tennessee had a cup of coffee at number 1. Arkansas had a cup of coffee at number 1. Nobody knows who the best team is this year. That's generally how college baseball is. It's not like football, where you get into the playoff and, really 2 teams have a chance to win it. You know how many teams have a chance to win it this season? Truthfully, have a puncher's chance to win it. At least 19 teams. Just under 20 teams have a chance to win it. Your top 16 seeds, plus a Virginia team who's getting hot, plus a Florida team who's getting hot, plus 2 random other teams, like a 2016 Coastal Carolina type team. That's truly what this tournament is going to look like. So for as much as Tennessee's going to limp into the postseason, all it takes is one game. I'm trying to be positive. I mean, look, I'm a broken record on this thing the last couple weeks. But what's not a broken record, do need to touch on VIP play because that is coming. It is going to be live tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, VIP play is live. Tony will talk about it. His code is TNTony. You can also use mine, TNVIPS, TNVIPs, or TNTony, whoever you like better. It's probably Tony. That's fine. He's the man. But that thing's going to be awesome. We've had a couple people in there testing it out. It's working great. We got 200-plus leagues, going to have sweepstakes every month for a $10,000 bonus bet. Everybody gets treated like a VIP over there. Here's the man. You got something to say, Tony?
I'm proud of you, man. You're doing it.
Oh, we'll talk about it more tomorrow, or you will. But it's going to be live. So there will be stuff on social media you'll see in the morning sometime when it's ready. 21 plus in Tennessee. Gotta be in Tennessee. Gambling problem, please call the Tennessee hotline. I'm gonna go back to the phones. You gotta pause for emphasis sometimes. Garza Law, Extra Innings, you are on there.
Hey, Will, how you doing?
Good, man. Who am I speaking with?
This is your buddy in Vegas. I called you a couple weeks ago.
Oh, man. I thought something would be different by the time we talked again, but here we are.
No, I haven't. I constantly get asked, when are you moving back to Tennessee? And I'm like, I'm still trying to work some stuff out here, so.
Well,
hey, I'm not proud of it. I'm Irish. I'm Scottish. I am proud of that. But I'm a hothead. I was ready. I was ready to jump right there. I'm glad I don't live anywhere near Knoxville now because I probably would have been arrested because fan is short. What fanatic is? Fan is short for fanatic, and I could see me with some overalls going out there on the field. Come on now, Vandy. We're going to whoop your butt one way or another. But, it just shows, we're interesting human beings, that's for sure. But I don't claim to be sane in any way, but I'm just a nutty Tennessee fan. And real quick, I will say, man, you were there last year in Omaha, right?
I was not in attendance, no.
I was about to say, man, I hugged I don't know how many people, and with that one, that was a special. That was just, it was absolutely. If you weren't there, man, and you being a former player, I hate that for you. It was, hey, we don't have to be down in the dumps. Just think about that. I'm telling you, dude, I hugged so many people. Nebraska fans are looking at us, and they're just all these fan bases that are wearing different, different colors and stuff. They're all looking at us like, like I wish we could experience that because I told you before, it was right there beating Bama and throwing the goalpost in the river, which I helped throw the goalpost in the river. But anyway, I got to say it, man. I mean, what, 5 balls to the warning track? I mean, in the past few years, Mother Nature's just blowing us out. Okay, that came out wrong. Sorry,
Pause.
that came out wrong. Just blowing us out of the ballpark. There was that home run by Newstrom, man. That was gone, and it just it's like warning track all year long. It's just right there, you know. And I don't know, man. I mean, there's so many things to talk about, and I would like to see Antigua more. Obviously, we're not in the locker room. We don't know what's going on there. I think he was really starting to step into his hitting game, and they said on ESPN he's arguably the best shortstop in the country, probably there with LeBron and a few others. But it's tough, man. I mean, it really is. But for those that have been there for years and years, just, you know, this is a program, and we're known to jump off the handles a little bit. But I mean, this is a program, and I still think we've got all the potential in the world. And I'd like to get your opinion. I apologize for this is the only time I get to talk, you know, Tennessee anything out here. But
no doubt.
I thought Crimson looked really good today.
Yep.
I think maybe yanking, you know, playing the dugout coach here, or the armchair manager. But I think going to Franklin, and Franklin was doing really well, but I think he needs to develop some change ups or something a little bit better instead of just, you know, firing it right in there. But, you know, I don't know, man. It's tough, dude. It's tough because we love this team so much, and so much was 20-0, and then you have this come along. But Expo pointed it out, man. And I'm a newbie on here. I don't know all the guys on here and all the longtime people, but I love the show. And he was talking about how we're one of 3 teams that have not been shut out, or swept. And I think there's a lot to build on with this team, with Newstrom, young guys. But man, I just wish that we could talk about that a little bit, and the fact that, you know, 3 weeks in a row now, weekends in a row, we've been affected and not been able to play an entire weekend where we didn't stop and start and stop and start, you know. So those are excuses, but hey, love what you're doing, man, and really appreciate it, and what Tony does, and I think you guys are next level. But I'll say it again, I'm glad I wasn't there, because I was ready all the way out here at 100-degree Las Vegas right now. I was ready to jump on the field, and I wouldn't have done that, obviously, but it kind of shows the difference. Before I let you go, it shows I'm in my 40s, and it shows the difference between the old school mentality of you're way too young to remember this, but there was a time Larry Bird and the Pistons, they would fight and nobody got ejected. I know it's a different time, and the Braves and Pete Rose, they had a heck of a brawl different times, and I just I don't know, but I guess that's that old school Generation X in me. I do like. I think it's all right to watch people fight a little bit, and there's nothing wrong with it, but that's probably the wrong way to look at it. But hey, man, appreciate
you're gonna come on here and get canceled. You gonna jump on here and get canceled? You talk about fighting.
Hey, dude, let me tell you something. I'm a comedian that voted for Trump, and I haven't been back on stage in a little while working on this little project with a TV show, but there ain't nobody's got me afraid of being canceled. I can tell you that much right now.
That's funny.
But
I appreciate the call, brother.
Hey, man, appreciate you. You take care, and I may have said mother today, but it wasn't in the right way. So I apologize to all the mothers out there. So have a good one, and man, I miss East Tennessee. Y'all take care. Bye.
All right. Well, there's a lot to unpack there, but that's my guy. Zero tolerance in schools and all that stuff. You don't really see fights anymore. But he's kind of right. There's something to be said about guys hashing it out every now and then you almost shake hands and end up being friends somehow. It's kind of interesting how dudes work, but that's a conversation for another day. I'm going to take a quick break. On the other side, I've got Matt Dixon with us. We're going to get his thoughts. He was in the house through the rain delay and all. I'm sure he's tired, but I appreciate him jumping on. We'll be right back.
Appreciate you listening to Garza Law Extra Innings, presented by Marcos Garza, your Garza Law firm. We'll get you back to the action here momentarily. Portions today, presented by our friends at TLD Logistics. Online at tldlogistics.com. So much more than a trucking company. First of all, tremendous supporters of your Tennessee baseball Vols. You will see Jim Peters. You will see Kevin Herman. You will see those folks at Lindsey Nelson Stadium, rain, sleet, or snow. But the important thing is TLD Logistics does everything. Whatever your challenges are relating to shipping, you reach out to them. They're going to take care of you. They even helped out the recent Super Bowl, trucking something across the country to them. They can do it for you. And if you are wanting to become an owner-operator, do we ever have an opportunity for you? Check out tldlogistics.com for more information. Also presented by our friends at Simpson's Meats. Simpson's Meats raises and sources their meat on farms, on pasture, on purpose, comfortably continuing a tradition that began in 1888 on Jim Simpson's farm. I'm talking about a beef brand built on quality. I'm talking about, you're going to pay a little more, but you're going to get what you pay for and then some. Steaks, burgers, sausages, roast, chicken. They also have a variety of local offerings at their butcher shop, from milk to honey to jams to eggs. You name it, they've got it. Stop by and taste the best from the Tennessee community. And if you want to buy in bulk, they sell half and quarter cows as well. Steaks make a great gift. Gift boxes available. Ship premium meats anywhere in the world at simpsonsmeats.com. Visit their store in West Knoxville off Level Road and shop there today. Also presented by our friends at Connexial, Knoxville's own transportation and logistics tech company, proud sponsor of the My 20 Drive of the Game, right here on Garza Law Extra Innings, revolutionizing your trucking industry nationwide. We want your fleet to be more efficient, our drivers and roads safer. We all want that. Take control of your fleet, improve your safety scores, make drivers happy. KONEXIAL.com, KONEXIAL.com. And now, without further ado, let's get back to the action on our TLD Logistics phone lines. Light them up at 865-200-5402. It's Garza Law Extra Innings, and here's the superstar, Will Heflin.
Garza Law Extra Innings, back for a little chat with Matt Dixon. Matt, how wet did you get, man? Did you make it through that storm okay?
Yeah, I was in the dry, so I was good to go. I guess that's probably one of the few good things that happened over there today and this weekend. So just really just another frustrating and disappointing result. I don't know how much what else there is to say. It feels like Groundhog's Day. You kind of do the same thing every weekend and give up free bases and free base runners, and don't pitch it quite well enough to get that last strike or that last out, and then at the plate you can put together some good quality ABs and get one or two guys on, but you can't get that last hit or have that last ball not be hit right at somebody to give you some momentum. And it just feels like they're just fighting up a hill from the start in every game right now.
Matt, is that the wildest thing about this whole deal? Is it looks the exact same every weekend? We're not finding new ways to lose every weekend. We know exactly why we're losing. It's been a mirror image.
Every base hit or walk turns into basically a double or triple.
But the
and
series
when you do
flow
that
is
constantly,
the same
you're
too.
just that one, bloop single away from giving up 2 runs. Or for the case the last 2 weekends, they've given up like 4 or 5 runs in innings where when the guy gets on base, a ball never leaves the infield and a guy scores. And that's just, this team just is nowhere near talented enough to overcome that like previous teams are. And then this team just doesn't have enough, top of the lineup bats that you can stack in a lineup and in the middle and bottom parts of it to get that big 3-run homer. Like it just feels like that's such a chore once this team gets down by 2 or 3 runs that, I mean, they scrapped their way today and kept kept tying Vandy, but they never had the lead.
What's crazy? This kind of just hit me. Think about Andrew Fisher hits 2 home runs today, and they said it on the air. He is now leading the conference with 20, which is a very good amount of home runs. 20 is a good season. You've got 1 week left of regular season play. That wouldn't have sniffed the league lead a year ago. It's a little bit different this year.
Tennessee had 6 guys hit 20 last year.
Home runs are down kind of across the board. I think like 8-9%. And Tennessee's still towards the top in home runs. But when, as a whole, home runs are down a little bit, the game's playing a little bit different this year. Whether it's this year's bat models were dialed back a little bit. I know Tennessee was swinging those new ones this weekend, or maybe they adjusted the balls a little bit to try to make it a little bit safer for third basemen and pitchers getting 117-mile-an-hour line drives hit back at them. But for whatever reason, home runs are down a little bit. Maybe just they're just not as Jack Caglione or Charlie Connon or Christian Moore in the league this year, or Blake Burke. But when you're not hitting quite as many, you're still hitting a lot, but not quite as many, and there's not as many 14 to 12 games, that stuff matters a whole lot more. You can't give up runs when balls don't leave the infield. You can't throw away 3 pickoff moves in an inning. You can't walk guys, which is wild to say because that's one thing that good, bad, or in between Frank Anderson's staff has never had walk issues. Maybe a guy or two, but collectively out of the bullpen, like just very rarely is that an issue.
Yeah, and in the margins, this year the walk rate from the pitching staff in SEC play is the highest it's been over the last 5 years. I mean, it's not by a lot, and it's still very low compared to most teams. But again, when you get a guy on base, they're almost always ending up at second or third within the next at bat, and then you just can't find a way to overcome that. The home run numbers are down. Tennessee's very home run dependent. Just that's kind of the program that they built, and they kind of recruit guys to do that. And you're not able to manufacture runs. You have some failed bunts today that were costly, maybe questionable to even call in certain spots. This team doesn't steal a ton of bases. And I'll give Vanderbilt credit. Vanderbilt was excellent defensively. They took away a couple of hits with great plays, but they also prevented a lot of those hard line drives that were in the gaps or down the line from turning into doubles by cutting them off before they got to the wall. And they limited a bunch of really well-hit balls to singles. I think Bargo had 2 of them today. And that's kind of the difference over a weekend. I'd say Vanderbilt took away maybe 8 or 10 bases and a couple of hits from Tennessee, whereas Tennessee continues to just let guys, run free on the bases. And it's just so hard to overcome that against good teams, especially teams that have enough pitching depth.
Yeah. Yeah, Tennessee's bottom 3 in the SEC. I think they're 14th in fielding percentage. So that's kind of the point, is when home runs are down across the board and you don't control the run game. When your walk rate is as low as it was over the last few years and your strikeout rate was as high as it was, you can kind of get away with that. But when the home runs are down and the walks are up, you cannot get away with not being solid in those areas. And 14th is just not solid, especially when you play on turf, because other teams aren't going to come into your place and make those same errors. Which Vanderbilt did actually make a couple. Like Dean reached on an error this weekend. Now, to your point, they made some nice defensive plays as well, but they gave Tennessee, I think, their first run on Friday, which that was a one-run game, so that's certainly important. And then there were a couple pass balls that gave Tennessee free 90s. I thought the Dalton Bargo leadoff, I guess they may have ruled it an error. I can't remember how they ruled it, but the chopper to first, and he ended up beating out. He beat the pitcher to the bag. And then with Dean up, who's during his struggles hit a lot of ground balls to the left side, so he's clearly a double play risk. They kind of ponk one off the catcher's mitt. So Bargo goes to second, and you're like, oh, awesome. That takes away the double play. Now you're down one, you got a runner on second, nobody out. Just hit a 14 hopper to the second baseman, and you get all the high fives in the dugout, but wasn't able to do that. So it's just when you're not hitting home runs, it's those type of ABs that you have to have, and then the bunt situations like you touched on. So let's go back to the phones real quick. Garza Law, extra innings. You were on the air.
Hey, Will. Hey, Matt. This is Gary. How you guys doing?
Hey, Gary.
Man, it's been a rough 5 or 6 weeks now. And I think Matt said it a while ago. This is like it's like we're watching the same movie. This is Groundhog Day, kind of all over again, and we just can't seem to break through. We kind of seem to be on the wrong side of those hidden outs that are in a baseball game. When you've got somebody runners on first and second, and you have a guy bunting over, and he or one out, and you try to get a guy over there to third so that a fly ball to center field or wherever can get a run in. But we just are not playing clean. I mean, how many? And Will, you pitched and was a very good pitcher. I mean, how many home runs do you think you gave up on 0-2 counts?
I don't know. I wasn't a very good pitcher, but I appreciate it.
You were. You were.
I gave up 14 homers in 21. But
I bet those weren't on 0-2 counts, though.
Well, maybe not. But I'll tell you this. I didn't walk guys. But, I didn't throw 99 either, so give and you take. We don't need to make it about me. We listen to enough of that in the booth this weekend.
Do you not think that we're probably? I don't even know if this is a stat, but we've got to be leading the country in giving up 0-2 home runs.
No,
I'm sure
for as bad as it's felt,
14 of Vanderbilt's 25 hits over the weekend came with 2 strikes, including those last 3 home runs. The triple was an 0-2 count, but 14 of Vanderbilt's 25 hits over the whole weekend, 2 strikes.
Matt,
and
we were a strike away from getting out of that inning.
Strikeouts are down too.
Yeah. I will say this. Okay, so let's find something positive. So can we look for something positive this weekend? And here's my positive thing that I'm going to land on is AJ Russell. We saw a really, really good version of AJ Russell on Saturday.
Yeah.
And if we can get that from him the rest of the year, that makes me feel a whole lot better about either a number 2 guy or a number 3 guy to start a game.
Yeah. Well, for as much as it's felt like Groundhog Day, we say this every week, the margins in this league are so razor sharp that you're never as far away from being where you need to be as you think when things are going bad, and you're never as far away from being bad as you think when things are good. So,
Sure.
Guys like A.J. Russell getting back more to where he's normally been is good. The positive thing, and it's kind of frustrating too, is what we really should have done this entire show was got on here and talked about Hunter Inslee.
There you go. That's a great one. He had a great weekend.
I know Liam Doyle pitched a great game, but Hunter Inslee saved the game multiple times in center field and had a 2-run homer. And he continues to hit the ball hard. And he started that 9th inning with a single. And, he's so good, Matt, when you need him to just either be on base or driving a run, it's always the exact same swing from him. It is a line drive right center every single time. And he is unbelievable. He has gotten so much better over the course of his career, and he's such a gamer, and he's such a competitor. It truly, like, when you have him, that's one of the main reasons that I think, okay, when postseason comes around, the hot, cold, hot theory might be right, because you have Hunter Inslee, and if he comes up when you need it most, you feel pretty good. But that's also the frustrating part, is because the guy from over there, small town, a little further west Tennessee, just plays phenomenal all weekend against Vanderbilt, who he, I'll tell you, he doesn't care for, and you still lost the series, and so that makes it sting even more. But, man, I appreciate the call. You're right about...
Hey, Will,
yeah, go ahead.
Will, one more really quick thing is I think we're missing, and I love Cannon behind the plate, but we're missing those outs that that Cal got for us. Those throwback behind the runner and pick off the guys there. We're missing that this year as well. There's those hidden outs there in a game that we're not taking advantage of. And then the last thing I want to say is Tuesday night at 5:00. I know it's an early start, but we need to pack that place for Hunter Inslee. Like what you just said, it's his senior night, and I know there's others that probably will be their last home game as well. But we need to pack that place for Hunter Inslee. That kid has gave his all for Tennessee, and we need to send him out on the right note.
Amen. Amen to that. Appreciate the call, man. Matt, Hunter Inslee needs a statue, man.
Yeah, that's another thing that sucks, is everything that he did Friday night gets lost in the weekend, and he was, he basically won that Friday night game, with that saving turning a 2-run home run into a double play, and then having that great slide, which he's known to do. So no, he's incredible.
Didn't he hit a 2-run homer that game too?
Yeah.
Or was
he did. Yeah, to lead off game to give you a 1-0 lead or 2-0 lead in the first.
It was game 2 that he hit the homer. He did
not take kindly to Vandy celebrating on the pitcher's mound after the game. There's a little bit of a dust up that's, I'm sure, going to get blown out of proportion on social media, but Hunter Inslee did not like that at all, and I don't blame him, because he was more than good enough to help his team win a series this weekend.
Yeah, he's well within his right to not be happy about that, but if you win the series, you also get to celebrate. So I think maybe both sides fair game on that one. But I was glad Tennessee played with an edge today. They did, which makes me worry even more.
They just don't harness it enough on the field to make it impact games. That's the unfortunate part.
Yeah. Yeah, typically when you get something like that happened in the first inning with Fennell quick pitching, and then Fisher takes him deep, and you get the little, the tempers flaring, typically that's huge advantage Tennessee. And it wasn't. They can't seem to carry it over when they get momentum. Can't seem to continue to build on it. You know what I mean? But Let's go back to the phones real quick. TLD Logistics Hotline, you're on the air.
Hey, Heflin, how you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. Appreciate what you're doing here in the community for Knoxville around baseball and everything. I've been listening to you for, I guess, since you kind of came on here. But a couple things. One, the shirt you got on, I saw it on X, on the space. The shirt's electric. I love the bright orange thing you got going on. Don't know if it's a Tennessee shirt or not, but that thing is popping tonight.
It's not. It's a golf shirt. No free promos, but Sunday swagger. They got a lot of cool designs, and it's pretty affordable. So I guess they get a free promo. You're welcome, Sunday swagger.
I like the shirt. Yeah, the shirt was good.
Thank you.
Second thing, I just want to entertain this exercise, and I want you to also tell me if I'm just going to be completely crazy here. But the SEC tournament, let's just go ahead and bypass that. That's not happening. That down there in Hoover, that's a buzzsaw every May or June or whatever it is. That's not going to happen.
You know, I think some time off would be the best thing for this team. If they want to go down there and play well, that's great. But if they go down there and lose the first one, I won't care.
Yeah, it's just not realistic. I mean, sure, you'd like to see them have some success, but this league's always stacked. It's not, we've proven we haven't done well in the league this year so far, so let's just go ahead and cut that out. Getting to the regional, though, remind me, is the regional tournament is 4 games. You got a 1, 2, 3, and 4 seed. Is that right? And one plays 4, 2 plays 3. You go on to the championship, and then is it double elimination in the region or is it single elimination there?
It's double elimination in the regional until the final, unless so one of the teams that makes it to the final will have one loss. If I guess it's double elimination in the regional. I don't know why I'm complicating it. Yes.
Yeah. So let's say this here. So let's say we're on the outside looking at the 1 seed. We're the 2 seed, but we're a pretty high 2 seed. So we're going to travel to, we're not going to travel to an LSU. We're not going to travel to a major. We're not going to Texas. So we could go maybe to a ECU. I'm not sure how those mid-major schools that are usually doing pretty well have done, but we're probably going to be in that regional or at another SEC school who's not really that high up in the ranks of the SEC. And we're probably going to be playing that 2-3 game to start off. And again, tell me if this is just going to be completely outrageous and there's no way it happens. But
this. I know where
what
you're
if we
going with
take Phillips and we throw Phillips on the 2-3 game? Because most likely that 3 seed is going to be a mid-major school that really probably can't hit Phillips' stuff. And then you save Doyle for the 1 seed because he's proven that he can beat anybody in the country. And if you throw Doyle against the 3 seed, at that point, it's a 100% chance of winning. And then you got Phillips going up against the 1 seed. You're kind of putting yourself behind the 8 ball. So is this a conversation, that they're had? I mean, I'm sure it might be, but is that a viable option? And is that something you think would be a possibility?
They'll consider it. I think it depends on the matchup you get. I'll tell you, they won't. If they don't end up hosting, they will not go to an SEC school for a regional.
Okay.
So that's
they'll be going
that's
to
just
somewhere
off
like
the table.
ECU
They'll either be at an ACC or a
Right,
Big 12 or one of those higher mid-major seeds. But I kind of thought they might do that in 23 when they faced Clemson, but there wasn't a clear number one. I mean, Andrew Lindsay was phenomenal as a Friday guy that year, but they just went ahead and threw him against Charlotte in Game 1, and then I think it was Beam in Game 2, so you felt good there.
Mm-hmm.
But that could be something you look at depending on the 3 seed. But a lot of times the 3 seed in a regional is going to be either a really strong Power 4 school that kind of had a weird year and has probably gotten hot late, who you're not excited about seeing in that first game, or it's going to be a sneaky mid-major. So if you lose that first game, you basically have no chance. Because you have to beat the team twice if you do get to that Sunday, and would have to beat them again on Monday if you beat them that first time. So, typically that Game 1 is so important that you just go ahead and throw Doyle. But if you're able to host, that's not off the table. I know it probably feels like it is, but Arizona was in position to be like a 14, 15, 16 seed They lost a series at home to Utah, who was like 7 and 17 in conference, so they're out of the hosting picture. A&M's probably out of the tournament. They weren't in the hosting picture, but somebody else that was potentially a host had a really just dud of a weekend. They're slipping my mind. So Tennessee, you're sitting at 15. You're not going to be guaranteed to host right now unless you go win the series at Arkansas, which is going to be tough. But if you win one game at Arkansas, you're at 16 wins, so you're borderline hosting. At that point, let's say they do go to Hoover and you end up winning a game. Then you probably are hosting at least a regional, which at that point you get a 4 seed, and I would say flip them. I'd say flip Phillips and Doyle at that point. I know that puts Doyle game 2 for Supers, but you got to get there. You got to get there. You got to get there for it to matter. So I'd be fine with it. I would throw, or maybe you don't even throw Phillips game 1 if you don't get a Wright State from 21 as a 4 seed. If you get one that you really think you can cruise or just out hit, then maybe you throw maybe you go AJ Russell game 1 and be like, hey, go get us 3-4 innings and then we'll piece it together.
Yeah, I was thinking Russell. I would just hate to see Doyle get burned on a 4 seed or a 3 seed, knowing how good he is and how he can almost beat any team in the country. So I wanted to get your thoughts on that. The second thing is, and I'll be quick about it as well, I don't really understand the run game situation going on.
I don't either, man.
I've never
I'm
seen
tired
it before.
of talking about it.
Like stealing third base on lefty hitters. That doesn't even happen like in travel ball for 10-year-olds. I don't know if we're just telling them don't worry about it at all. Maybe their time to the plate is just outrageously slow. I just don't understand, and I don't think people. It's like he can't be that bad. I just don't know like what your opinion is on it. Like I've just never seen anything like this. I mean, you get a guy on first base at the beginning of the inning, and he's automatically at third, and you're playing behind the 8 ball, and you're kind of, you're putting yourself in a really hard situation for the rest of the inning. And Vandy did it, all weekend, and there's going to be other teams that do it. This exposes. So I didn't know what your thoughts were on it, or if you could just explain what's happening.
Yeah, I really don't know, man. I appreciate the call. I'm sick of talking about that, but there have been runs scored that would not have scored had you not given up those free 90s. So, hopefully it was so painfully obvious this weekend that it's got to be fixed, that we maybe, reach some sort of turning point. And I'm kind of alluding to Tony Vitello in the postgame Saturday. He pretty much said, like, it's got to stop now. So, Matt, what's your opinion on I know we're looking ahead, but would you think about flipping Doyle and maybe you don't even start Marcus, you move him back to game 3 and you throw off in game 1 if you like your matchup?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think you definitely consider that. Obviously, it's pretty draw dependent, which I think this team's probably more draw dependent than previous teams, because I think we can agree this team doesn't have enough pitching to come out of a loser's bracket. And kind of like Arkansas last year with Hagen Smith, you absolutely have to win every Liam Doyle start in the postseason to have any chance. So that's why if you can get that 1 seed and you get a 4 seed that maybe doesn't hit the ball very well, and especially if they don't steal a ton of bases, and you feel like you could use Phillips or somebody else, I would definitely try to hold Doyle for that second game, because that's really the game that decides who wins regionals like 90% of the time. So that would be a big help if you could do that. But you could draw if you have to go on the road and you're a 2 seed. You could draw a 3 seed that forces you to use Doyle if it's a really solid team or a team with one of these like true workhorse aces. You would probably have to throw Doyle in that first game, which would really hurt their chances of getting out of a regional. But you definitely consider it, but it's going to be up to the matchup, I think. I thought it was curious when Vitello said that about Phillips and the Saturday stuff, because it's hard to change your Saturday pitcher when you don't really know who your Sunday pitcher is already. So,
right.
Which it was interesting that they threw Russell yesterday. I had a thought today that maybe they did that to make sure he got a couple of innings in case of the weather, like it happened today. You didn't want to, have him go out there for an inning and get it stopped. But I thought that was curious there as well. But Vitale admitted after all this that they, didn't make a ton of great decisions this weekend, whether it's pitching or who was in the lineup. He kind of admitted that they probably botched a few things, which I think is pretty fair.
Yeah. Well, that's always one thing you can say about him. He is not scared to say he was wrong. I went and looked real quick. Tennessee's luck, we'll get matched up with like Louisville, who's got 123 stolen bases, because they're kind of in that 2-3 seed range. So if they don't finish super strong, well, they may be more close to a host than I'm giving them credit for. They're probably a 2. But VMI leading the country with 200 stolen bases. That'll be the Tennessee matchup as a 4 seed for sure.
Want to see them.
Knowing our luck, and then you might as well throw Doyle and move on there and try to figure it out. But we're going to take a quick last break. On the other side, we're going to talk about Arkansas. I'm going to touch on what happened around the league a little bit. Make any last weekend predictions, kind of how the rest of the league is looking as we head into the final weekend. Touched on it a little bit. Tennessee not completely out of the hosting picture, but certainly not set in stone like they were headed into this weekend. Really needed a series win. But, to their credit, they're one of the very few teams that haven't been swept at all, and that's why even though they've lost 5 of their last 6, they're still sitting at 15 conference wins and probably one series victory away from being a top 8 seed if they're able to go to Baum Stadium and do it. But we'll be right back. This is Garza Law Extra Innings. I am Will Heflin.
We'll get you back to Garza Law Extra Innings momentarily. I do want to remind you, portions presented by our friends at Performance Medicine. Take control of your wellness, personalized health solutions that fit your lifestyle. You will be so glad that you got out of the rat race and the way you understand healthcare right now, because that's exactly what Dr. Rogers did several years ago. Comprehensive proactive solutions empowering you to achieve optimal health on your term. If you're tired of feeling drained of energy, you're struggling with your weight goals, maybe you dream of radiant skin, maybe you're hoping to start a family, say goodbye to cookie cutter healthcare. PerformanceMedicine.net for more. Check out their YouTube channel at Performance Medicine. Also presented by our friends, my friends and your friends at Alumni Hall. Listen up, baseball fans. Step up to the plate. New gear from Alumni Hall. Don't you dare swing and miss by shopping elsewhere. Alumni Hall absolutely has you covered. You can shop in their 3 Knoxville locations where you'll see the best selection, the top brands for you to choose from all season long. They also have a shop in Bristol, one in Murfreesboro, and for you listening to us around the world, they're online anywhere in the world and available to you at alumnihall.com. The ultimate Tennessee shopping destination is Alumni Hall. And a special shout out to our friends at Dos Equis. Celebrate another successful Tennessee baseball run all season long by going for Dos, Tony Vols. I'm talking about Dos Equis. Lager Especial, a golden Pilsner stout made from the choice of hops, balanced composition, smooth, clean finish. Party guest always invited, never overstays as welcome. Nuanced blend of malts and earth tones, flavorful yet light tasting and smooth. Balanced composition, clean finish. That, my friends, is Dos Equis Cervezas Mexicanas 2025, White Plains, New York. Now let's burn up those TLD Logistics phone lines and get you back to the superstar. I'm talking about the host with the most. I'm talking about superstar Will Heflin. It's Garza Law, Extra Innings.
Will Heflin back with you on Garza Law Extra Innings with Matt Dixon. Florida has done something that no SEC team has ever done. They started 2-10, No team that has ever started 2-10 or worse has made the NCAA postseason. Florida was already in good position, and they go on the road and win 2 out of 3 at number 1 Texas. They've won like 13 of their last 14 conference games. Kevin O'Sullivan, love him, hate him, don't care. The guy is unbelievable. And they do this song and dance every single year. They start slow, and they turn it on. They did have some injuries this year that kind of derailed them, but they got healthy, and now look out. Alabama wins a much-needed series over Georgia. It's a very good series win for Alabama. They're kind of right back in the hosting mix, depending on how next weekend goes. They got a little bit of work to do. Everybody's talking about A&M getting swept by Missouri. I don't know if A&M's going to make the tournament now. They've got a series at Georgia. That's a must-win, and probably got to win 2 or 3 in Hoover. Wild final there. Matt Dixon, what do you think about that? A&M just at home getting swept by 0-24 Missouri.
Well, I mean, if you're going to blow the Friday game, you might as well just let them take the whole series from you. I mean, good Lord, that's brilliant. I think was it like 10-2 today?
10-1.
And then I think yesterday they didn't even score until the bottom of the 9th.
Missouri,
so they were kind of non-competitive.
Missouri had a team ERA of north of 9, and they walk in there and in game 2 and 3 give up 1 run. That's insane. Baseball, isn't it weird? Arkansas avoids the sweep at LSU. LSU, kind of similar to how they did against Tennessee. Wins in late night comeback fashion after a rain delay on Friday, and then just mollywopped them yesterday. But Arkansas salvages a game 7-4 today, so they're in good position for a top 8 seed. Vanderbilt all but solidified theirs with a win today at Tennessee, and that's kind of your look around the league. South Carolina's out of it. Kentucky swept Oklahoma at home. Really good sweep for Kentucky, even though I cannot stand them. So Oklahoma kind of out of the hosting picture. That was the team I was thinking about, Matt. They're behind Tennessee, and had they won the series at Kentucky, you could see how maybe they would jump Tennessee, but they're definitely 2-seed range now. And then Clemson lost the series at home to Duke. They're kind of on the same slide Tennessee is. I think they got swept last weekend. They're like 2-8 maybe their last 10 ACC games. They were sniffing. They were in that number 1 conversation a couple weeks ago when everybody's trying to decide who was number 1. And they were as high as 2 at 1 week, and they've completely fallen from that. So again, it's just been a crazy year, and that's normal. I just think it's really balanced, and you add a Texas and Oklahoma to the league, and it just becomes that much more competitive. And yeah, I don't really. I mean, it's kind of late. I'm kind of getting delirious, but I do want to finish with, a couple thoughts. Do you have anything you want to finish with first, Matt?
I do have one question for you, and we sent it to you during the delay. If you had a thought on it. It seems like hitters and even pitchers this season have reverse splits, and I just think that's really odd because it's like I would say half of lineups have reverse splits this year. And I was just curious if you had any thought as to maybe why that is.
Is it just us, or is it other teams too?
No. All teams. All teams. Like a bunch of guys just hit better against like same side pitchers for whatever reason.
I think that's a coincidence.
It's a really odd kind of trend I've seen this year.
Yeah, that's really weird. Some righties, aside from Newstrom, sometimes righties will see righties better just because that's what they grow up facing more of. So, sometimes I think it's more common for right-handed guys to have reverse splits. But if there's a oddly high number of lefties with reverse splits, I don't have the answer for that. I actually think that's very weird.
Yeah, I know J.D. Thompson was that way. I mean, not by a ton, but lefties hit better against him. Doyle's are actually pretty similar, but I mean they're all really low.
Yeah, that one's just.
Loy's really good against. I mean, Loy shuts down lefties like Kirby did. But just and hitting like Keelan's really good from the lefts against lefties, and it's kind of a weird deal. I just noticed that when I kind of look ahead to all these teams that Tennessee plays, so many guys are that way. Like R.J. Austin hits like 124 against lefties, but like over 300 versus righties. And Tennessee pulled Lloyd twice for him this weekend, which was kind of strange. But I was just curious. And the only other one, and you were kind of talking about Arkansas, obviously a place that Tennessee has not had success really at all. Will, do you know the last time Tennessee won a game in Fayetteville, when that was?
I hope you have the answer.
I do. I researched this. In 2015, Tony Vitello was calling the Hogs the last time Tennessee won a game in Fayetteville.
Well, in fairness, he's only played what?
Gary's point.
How many series has Tony been in Arkansas? I think it's just 2.
Yeah, it's just the 2.
Okay, that makes it sound better.
They don't play every year. But I think he is 1-9 against Arkansas. But he also has one national title, and Dave Van Horn has none. So,
no doubt.
And because our colleague Gary talked about positivity, so I will not even ask you to name the last time he won a series in Fayetteville, because we'll end on a good note. That it was probably before you were born, Will.
Well, that's a long time, but. They used to be, it was the West, so you didn't go over there every year. Or every other year. But, Matt, I appreciate your time, man. We're past 10:02, and a lot of people have stuck around to listen to us try to make sense of this whole deal. And I don't know that we have, but we've tried, and I've kind of had a good time doing it. I'll leave everybody with this, and it's that I'm never fully going to give up on this team, but until postseason starts, I'm kind of out right now, which is it sucks to say, but Matt was talking about Tennessee hadn't won at Arkansas very much, and not many people do. That's one of the best home field environments, and Dave Van Horn is one of the best coaches in the league, and they've got one of the best teams in the league. So it's hard to go over there and win. And so for Tennessee to go over there facing the demons that they are right now, it just doesn't line up good. But for as weird as our sport is, maybe they go over there and beat the crap out of them for no reason. So maybe that'll happen. But I will say I think everything is there for a postseason turnaround. And, it may not happen, and that's okay if it doesn't. But I wouldn't be surprised at all if they somehow flip the switch when it got for real, which is the postseason. But it would be nice to go over there and compete and play well and kind of solidify a regional host, because you just don't know what can happen, and you always want to be at home in the postseason if possible. Give your fans more games to come watch. And I do want to reiterate what the guy said, one of our last callers there. Tuesday, senior day, especially for Hunter Inslee, but all those older guys. I don't know if Dalton Bargo's going through senior day or not, but he's been phenomenal all this year. He is a VFL. I know he transferred in, but he's a Vol. And, everybody over there, for as frustrating as it can be at times, they really have carried themselves well. This team doesn't have any off-the-field issues. It's a team full of good dudes. They handle their business, and they're Vols. And baseball's a tough game. So get over there and support them. I'll try to go for sure. But I did mention VIP play is launching tomorrow, so I'll be rather busy. Need to go home and go to bed. But I appreciate everyone's time a ton. We will be back with you next week for the finale of Arkansas right after that game. And then from then on, we'll be with you every single postseason game right after it for however many that is, whether it's 10 games all the way through the middle of America where the steaks taste better in Omaha, or 2 in barbecue in regional, or somewhere in between, which is probably the most likely. But Tennessee will be in the NCAA tournament to try to repeat as national champions, and other than LSU, not many recent national champions have even made the college or the NCAA tournament. So there's your little positivity to go to bed with. I appreciate you all a ton. As Tony would say, fired up, focused, and prepared for the week. Fired up, focused, and prepared. Tony Basilio will be with you as normal, as always, 11 to 1 on his great, wonderful show. All his callers who are nice enough to be nice to me, thank you so much. And all the newbies like my boy from Vegas, who are newbies like myself. We're gonna keep getting used to this deal. But appreciate everyone. Have a good night. Heflin, I'm out.
Thank you, Willie. Great job. Hey, Tracy Heflin, I love your son.
Tony Basilio here. He wants to talk to you. Extra innings presented by Garza Law. We are in the Tony Basilio Ray Mears studio. Online at garzalaw.com. Call in 865-200-5402 TLD Logistics Hotline. We're live after every SEC series finale. Spread the word. And after every single postseason game. Live at tclub.team, X Spaces, Twitch, and YouTube. I am VFL Will Heflin, back with you this week. Happy Mother's Day to every mother who is out there. Tony, my sweet mother was a sibling of an older brother and a twin brother, and then she was blessed, or cursed, however you want to look at it, with 3 boys of herself. God bless that woman.